All right, we've gone live and we got a lot of stuff to cover. We're still going to give you 1 minute of lead time. So during that minute, check out the sun at 193 angstroms, and we'll be right back. Please tell your friends and foes to join the live chat. All right, so there's tons of stuff to cover today. We've got a coronal hole there forming just underneath that rising active region, which you see on the left side. Let's do a little zoom in on that. See a very defined upside down triangle shaped coronal hole there, and an active region which does not appear to be a sunspot. That's actually not a sunspot. It's definitely a cycle 24 plage. It's got strong fields, and there's going to be some X-ray uptick and also some coronal hole wind streams. Let's look at some more views here. Let's look at the colorized magnetogram as it is back in business. So there's a magnetic situation. And we also do have a plage right here on the equator, very close to the equator. So some activity kicking up, although the 10.7 centimeter radial flux, which is only a measure of the very outermost portion of the sun's corona in radio frequency. I believe it's 2,800 megahertz, actually. I want to buy a radio to measure that myself one of these days. Got to head out to Radio Shack. Here's a plage, actually. That's a cycle 25 plage up there, a little tiny one. Let's look at one more view here, 304 angstroms, before we move on and blast through a bunch of stuff at breakneck speeds. Anyway, there are the filamentary views there at 304 angstroms. And we are looking at about the last 7 hours here. Just about 7 hours of solar activity via your local yellow dwarf. We're going to look at more stuff, but before we do so, let's talk about the Hemp Lucid Spaced Out campaign. My mom was asking me about it via email. So please share with your friends. Hemp Lucid store. Now, my mom has medical conditions that she probably wouldn't mind my telling you about, but I won't say specifically what they are. But she, like so many people, would be somebody who would benefit from things like, I don't know, water-soluble CBDs designed to absorb super fast, available in 250 through 1,500 milligrams. Also, the hemp seed oil suspension ones are on sale. Also, some of the Kalki certified THC-free products are on sale in various sizes. Actually, that one's pretty attractive there for our cyclist colleagues. If you're worried about THC, you don't want any in your system. It goes all the way down to 150 milligrams there. So, sale on that. And I think I'm going to try some of these products in this portion right here pretty soon. So again, please check out the Hemp Lucid campaign in the description below this video. It's the Spaced Out campaign, specifically for our spaced out viewers. And we're going to look at cosmic rays next, as it is always interesting to see what the situation is at the station measuring the neutrons and their perturbations. Anyway, here's a Apatity. And there's Barentsburg. Now, yesterday I saw some extremely moronic driving and other moronic behavior. I was predicting that yesterday included a cosmic ray uptick. Let's see if human behavioral variables. Athens showing some crazy data there. It looks like they actually lost their data entirely as they got a spike. So I'm not sure what happened there. Don't harass Professor Mavermikowski. Don't inundate that person with emails about what happened with the data. But here's Mexico City. And here's Moscow. Oh, a big spike at Moscow going on right now. Please leave a comment if you've got a proton going through your head sent from 1,200 light years away in the constellation Deneb. Also, let's look at Oulu and 2 Antarctican monitors. Here's Oulu, Finland. No real uptick there, and levels not as high as they were around 2010. Here's DOMC Antarctica. Nothing to write home about there. And what's happened? What has happened here? By the way, this page is University of Oulu. Here's DOMB Antarctica. And let's move on. We've seen a slight cosmic ray uptick while cosmic rays are already at high levels. Here's a real-time solar wind. So we await a 180-degree phi angle connection as a result of this coronal hole, first of all. Again, because there is a coronal hole there rotating into the Earth-facing region. And in a few days, we should see a wind stream from that. And I am really trying to resize this, folks. I don't know what the hell is going on with it. There we go. I think it works. Oh, cheers. Anyway, these are the kind of phi angles here associated with earthquakes. You see that right there? That's a coronal hole, magnetic connection there. Here's a fleeting connection right here. So look for that throughout the day. Very low solar wind density, 2.08 protons per cubic centimeter, 352 kilometers per second for the solar wind speed. So very weak solar wind conditions. Let's look at the magnetosphere movies. Pressure and the density. Oh my gosh, my clicking is just amazing. Maybe I should play some FPSs today. Please leave a comment if you play FPSs. Anyway, here's the solar wind density. We see a very low solar wind depicted in light colors coming in from the left. This data courtesy University of Michigan Geospace Model. It's 4 hours of data. We put this on every day. Next, we'll look at the pressure. So we see very low pressure as a result of that combined low density and low speed. F equals MA on certain scales, folks. On certain scales, F equals MA. It's true. It's true. Let's don't completely debunk Einstein today. How about the ground geospace perturbations? We're looking at changes in the B field, the Earth's magnetic field, the one that goes through the planet, and the one that's associated with the geomagnetic poles and the pole excursion and the pole reversal and the pole flips and the pole shift and whatever you'd like to call it today. The South Pole's creeping up here into the Indian Ocean, west of Australia. And we've got 2 North Poles, one over Canada and one over Siberia. The main perturbations in the north are over the Canadian pole. There are today's 4 hours of delta B, which is, again, delta B, changes in the Earth's B field. Check out smAsho.org. It's going to be having some stuff added to it very soon. Also, check us out on Patreon. We've started the Mummify Bernie campaign, as I'm a huge proponent of the government doing less stuff, which makes me in direct opposition to Mr. Sanders, economically illiterate senator from Vermont. And so we've started a Mummify Bernie campaign. And we do have some public posts on Patreon, so check us out even if you're not willing to become a $1 tier member. And of course, we're enabling folks to share this meme here of the world's first democratic socialist, Vladimir Lenin, who's now on display in mummified form, looking to possibly get Bernie mummified also. Please let us know if you've got connections to the campaign. I would go see Bernie if he was put under lights. Also, the cycling team, please visit theveloshop.net if you're interested in cycling, as we've got bikes, accessories, etc. And still looking for sponsors? Thanks, John. The email's been sent. Thanks for calling. So Becky should have your email when she gets out of bed, which is probably hours from now. In any case, if you're looking to sponsor the team, you want to be on our jerseys, please email me at smAsho@gmail.com. Perhaps John will get to do a critique of the sponsorship of a cycling team with world-class athletes such as Becky Quinn and, of course, Kim Geist, and so on. So thanks for everybody who's donating and helping to support the channel in various ways, as YouTube pays us absolutely nothing. If you enjoy the music, check out the song we were just playing, for instance, Lost Luggage. And yes, this is a depiction of a man with a dirty bomb. That track, 99 cents USD. Also, check out some older stuff on SoundCloud. Links in the description to all this stuff. And let's keep going here, as time is short. Check out spaceweather.com, reporting on a SpaceX mission here to measure the gaps between the Van Allen belts. If you want to check that out, check out spaceweather.com. I would note 10.7 centimeter radio flux at 67. So the solar minimum continues, at least in terms of the measurement of the outer corona, which is, again, what the 10.7 centimeter radio flux is. It's only one variable, folks, only one variable. SpaceWeatherNews.com's got more data than that, so check out the X-ray flux, which is utterly flatlined for weeks. And I would comment that this is going to pick up as that active region rises. So sometime, probably today, we may see some flaring. We may see a sunspot form out of that group, but I doubt it. And we're going to see the background levels of the X-ray flux rise a tiny bit, which will have absolutely no effect on you in any measurable way. Also, we're seeing weakness in the GOES magnetometer here as forecasted yesterday through looking at the gong. That's the gong to magnetometer data interpolation. KP index is at 2. Electron flux still ultra low. So no charging hazards, as you'd expect. F2 layer is pretty nominal here. It's not particularly discharged on the nighttime or the day side. A little on the discharge side, but surprisingly charged up considering how weak those magnetosphere movies looked. Here are your aurora forecasts, which are very minor. And let's see. Okay, relativistic electrons have not been updated since the 24th. Let's move on. And you're going to see the X-ray flux rise here. You're going to see a white spot rising up on the left. That's that active region. A giant cycle 24 plage right near the equator, which is where end of cycle sunspots happen, as well as most other solar activity. At the end of a cycle, folks, most stuff happens by the equator. So we're watching for field flips. We're going to look at the, okay, I'm just clicking and clicking. We're going to look at the LASCO C2 also to see if there are any ejecta, and there are not. Move on. Here's a gong 2. And we see a bunch of plasma suspended out here by the magnetic fields of this active rising region that we're just starting to see. And another rising region up here associated with the North Pole, or pulling the North Field down. So this one's going to be south of the equator, folks. And then another active region up here. You can tell by the way the plasma is suspended like this. So this one's quite strong, though. And that's something to keep an eye on throughout the day and week. Here's where your planets are located, Milky Way galaxy team. They'll be in 1 week, about 2 days after the new moon, on July 5th. As we approach the Saturn conjunction. Please leave a comment if you're viewing from a different solar system, galaxy, plane of existence, spacecraft, through a mental astral projection or something like that. Let us know. Check out in-the-sky.org if you want to see what's going on in the morning sky. Jupiter is just about to set. So if you're up around midnight, Jupiter and Saturn will be way up there. And the moon just rising here. And I ask you, where were you when Deneb rose? It happened a long time ago. Check us out on other social media also, such as Instagram, where we post stuff just for fun, not just space weather things that are super important, such as this Three Stooges clip.
What can I do for you, Jackson? I'm in a terrible dilemma. Yeah, I don't care much for these foreign cars either.
Mo doesn't like foreign cars. Hey, we had our first 90-degree day in Pennsylvania yesterday, about 3 weeks later than it usually happens. So also follow us on Twitter, where we don't tweet, but we make the videos available for folks to share. Thanks, smAsho staff, for posting them. Also follow us on Facebook if you like, facebook.com/smAshomash, a social media company that's interesting, the largest social media network in the world, who personally ruined MySpace. You've got all kinds of commentary there about things like what should have happened on Google's 20th birthday. And if you may have noticed, we're not a fan of big tech. As companies purchase other companies and attempt to destroy them so that their own crappy spyware business model functions. Check out Gab, as we have links to the Mummify Bernie campaign image there. So you can share it via Gab if you like. There's a link right there. Is his skull collapsing, or was his head that flat? That's what I want to know about Mr. Lennon. Please leave a comment. Also check us out on Minds. Minds.com/smAshomash. Check out that background. Fantastic. And if you haven't pressed like and subscribe under this video, what are you waiting for? Please do so. And if you don't like the content, please don't so. Earthquake rundown. 4.7 in Indonesia. As activity there continues right in that same area. Oh, we see a new Madrid quake. Check it out. Oklahoma. Probably a frac quake. Largest quake on the list here is a 6.3 in that rift zone northeast of New Zealand. As we've been seeing repeated quakes in that area, right on that plate boundary / giant rift in the ocean. Let's continue on as fast as possible. How about a 5.1 in Indonesia, 4.8 at Fiji at 525 kilometers depth. Heads up for a larger quake at the surface there. 4.7 in New Caledonia, 4.7 in Indonesia, 4.4 at Mexico. South of Baja, it looks like. Zoom in a little more here. 4.4 at Japan. 4.9 at Indonesia at depth. Again, larger quake at the surface possible there, especially with an incoming coronal hole connection. Heads up Indonesia. 5.0 at Indonesia. Same location. Perhaps the activity there is not complete, as if this quake happened at the surface, it would be more like a 5.5. Here's a 5.2 at Tonga, 4.5 at Indonesia. That one's also at depth, close to the area of that other deep quake. Here's a 4.1 at Guatemala. No deep quakes in South America yet. Let's see what happens. 4.7 in Japan. This one was about 4 hours ago. 4.2 in Afghanistan at depth. Heads up there for a larger quake at the surface. There's a deep quake in South America indeed. Heads up there for a larger quake at the surface. So you're looking here and here and here for a larger quake. 4.7 at the Philippines. And I would note this one. This one located at a depth of negative 0.1 kilometers. So it's at 100 meters above sea level, folks. Let's zoom in real close on that one. And it is located right underneath the Kilauea caldera. How do you like them apples? Magma motion going on in Hawaii. Let's look at other magma motion in terms of volcanoes. Volcano rundown, Abico, producing an 11,000 foot ash plume. Don't fly your, oh my goodness, don't fly your homemade helicopter over that, as you will croak and become part of the lithosphere. 50,000 foot stratospheric explosion at Mount Manam in New Guinea. Check it out. New to the list, at least as far as that level, more stratospheric aerosols. Sangay, ash detected in satellite. Revenador producing an explosive 14,000 foot ash plume. And Sabancaya still steadily producing a 27,000 foot plume of ash. Have you had your sulfur today, folks? Because Mount Manam might provide you with some when the rain starts to fall. And the extra clouds that these volcanoes will provide will make it rainier where you are. Speaking of rainy and cold, let's see how rainy and cold it is by looking at everybody's favorite map that no other channel covers but ours. Snow depth. Global warming update. They're still skiing in Colorado and Utah. Also, if you were concerned about Greenland melting, here's the snow depth during summer when it gets like 90 degrees. Let's put down a marker. Oh, more than 5 meters. Oh, it's only 185.2 inches there. How about over here? More than 5 meters. How about down here? More than 5 meters. How about down here? More than 5 meters. Global warming update. The planet's not warming, but some idiots would like you to think it is. They're putting you on a plane to Alaska and telling you that you're going to Florida. U.S. Doppler radar map. Today, Montana and Wisconsin getting hit. Leave us a comment if you have one of those cheesehead hats. The air looks colder here to me, so let's check out this convergence over northwest Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Let me leave a comment if you caught a walleye recently. I've only ever caught one. It was about 18 inches. That located at Lake Beltsville, Beltsville Dam, Beltzville. You want a good fishing spot? Check out Beltsville Dam. I recommend Preacher's Camp. Preacher's Camp at Beltsville Dam. It's legit. Smallmouth bass spot. You heard it here. If you don't watch the smAsho channel, you won't know this stuff. Anyway, southeastern Minnesota is where we're getting the major convergence. Check out these areas down here where we have different altitude clouds and different Hall currents. If you're not familiar with Hall currents are the electrical current perpendicular to other electrical currents. See electric fields, electromagnetic fields, Birkeland currents, etc., as they're what control the Earth's weather, not convection. At least in normal situations, although in abnormal situations like the planet's weather right now, convection controls the situation. Here's the jet stream, if you want to call it that, because if you live in the northern hemisphere, you barely have one. Let's let this play here. I'll play this through for you. I got to zoom out. There we go. All right. So here's the last couple of days of the jet stream. And you can see the south hemisphere has an extremely powerful jet stream, although it's not particularly organized. It's still quite meridional in its flow. But if you look at the northern jet stream, it's barely a jet stream. We've got bits that are going completely backwards here, and convective forces running the show instead of the normal west to east flow of things. If you think that's caused by CO2, please unsubscribe from the channel. Because CO2 is a tiny trace element, and it's responsible for plant growth, not warming. Heads up Green Bay and Appleton. Thunder is rolling in, dudes. You're getting some major simul strikes here, which means giant step leaders way up in the sky. Look at the giant clouds that are above your head. So you're able to understand the distinction between your ass and a hole in the ground. Major convergence there over southeastern Minnesota. All right, let's animate that. That's pretty good. Now this is the shortwave radar here. Not the shortwave radar, the shortwave satellite. And this shows us a similar image to the visible when it's not daytime. So there's the cloud situation going on, and that's a pretty stagnant setup there. So if you're in the crosshairs of this thing, plan to be there for a while. I would also note these formations down here. Obvious electrical currents. All right, it's getting pretty long here. So let's get to the, that's an ass, and that is a hole in the ground section. DuckDuckGo, objective search engine, check it out, duckduckgo.com. Brave browser, the one that won't track you, and it's on a mission to fix the web, despite companies like Google, Facebook, Apple, and Twitter, and apparently Vimeo now, who are trying to ruin the web. Sorry, dudes, not going to work out. You're not going to break the web, but the web might break you. Also, check out this Google Insider blows the whistle on Google, the most tyrannical company in the history of the internet, probably the world, due to the value of the internet. Check out the Project Veritas video, links in the description of that as well. The Federal Reserve is a private entity, and as Alan Greenspan once openly admitted, it answers to no one. Trump has attached his administration so completely to the economic bubble that when it completely collapses, he and his conservative followers will inevitably be blamed. And it is the author's belief that Trump's doing so because he's being told to by the banking cabal. Now, I didn't write this article. This one is by Tyler Durden. Actually, it's by Brandon Smith via alt-market.com. It's talking about the Federal Reserve. If you don't know about the Federal Reserve, well, you're not living in a capitalist society. You may think you are. However, a banking cartel's ability to control the prime lending rate, which is the largest business block in the world, means that you live in a crony capitalist system. Otherwise, market forces would control the prime lending rate, not a cartel of banks. Now, certain really stupid people would prefer to put politicians in control of the banking cartel, which would actually make it even worse. Let's talk about what collapses societies. The way to destroy a civilization, such as the Roman civilization, is to crash its economy. So you may think that the Roman economy was crashed by debauchery and stuff like that, but really it was crashed by government suicide. They kept raising taxes, which became punitive. They didn't care about the consequences to merchants, small farmers, and peasants. In other words, if you lower taxes and increase government spending at the same time, you're pulling a Rome. And we're not going to stand for that. What we need is less government spending, entire cabinet departments to evaporate, such as the Department of Homeland Security to be absorbed by Defense Department, and so on. There should be no such thing as a Department of Education, as various aspects of the government should be in the hands of the states. Thanks to this article as well. Photos reveal what a phony AOC is. Obviously, she's gone to the Cory Booker School of Politics, as she's posing here behind a cyclone fence, which you too could do if you have an expensive photo crew and a $600 Movado watch on your wrist wearing your all-white outfit and stark red lipstick. By the way, what was she doing? Literally staging a photo shoot. It's an empty parking lot. Links to this article also. Please share with your friends. Wow. I think that should be the thumbnail. That's going to be the thumbnail. It's official. Also, if you ever see a truck driving with hazmats down the road and you want to know what's in that truck, as it could benefit you if the thing crashes, type in UN/UA, and such as the one I checked out yesterday, 1791, which is hypochlorite solution, ultra strong cleaning solvents, which are corrosive. And so anyway, if you want to look that up, just type in whatever. For instance, let's see. I know some of them. Type in UN/UA 1981. It's going to give me the wrong stuff. Gender equality, folks. Anyway, that's fuel oil or something. Oh, the humanity. Some French scientists think that they've created metallic hydrogen, and we hope they did, because the ramifications of this are super huge as far as human technology. Link to that article also in the description. Let's look at crypto. As Bitcoin has been going on a tirade, if you're chasing that, I wish you luck. Anyway, there's a 1-year chart. Let's look at the all data chart. And it's not showing us the all data chart. Thanks, CNBC. I don't know what this crap is supposed to be. Here's the 1-year chart again. Let's look at Ethereum's 1-year chart, since this NBC product owned by Comcast. If you weren't aware, Comcast actually owns NBC. So it looks like Ethereum has reached a support level also. Let's look at 2 other actual commodities here. Two actual commodities. Gold, which was at a 6-year high there, if you weren't aware. And it's leveled off, but what's going to happen with US currency? Personally, I do not think crypto is a place to hide from the stock market. I only think precious metals and other commodities are. You be the judge. Please leave a comment. And look at silver, which we suggested might be a good purchase back here at $14. Just before Christmas shopping started, in November, around Thanksgiving, like, hey, folks, check it out. Silver's at $14 an ounce. And it's currently only at whatever that is, $15.29. And now it's time to go back to the sun again, to go back. Please leave a comment if you want any transients covered. If you've got a favorite X-ray source, pulsar, etc., leave a comment. We'll cover it. We're going to attempt to get to the comments. We will try our best. Before we do that, we're going to bring up 8 hours and 15 minutes of the sun and 171 angstroms. Full resolution, though. Yeah, John Katowski, yeah. thanks for your interest, man. I sent the email just this morning, so cheers. You know, Mary, we typically always get volcanic eruptions at solar minimum, especially at the ramp up just after the minima. So, yeah, 10.7 centimeter radial flux back down to 67, folks. Just to reiterate, that's a solar minimum radial flux. Although we will see an increase here with this active region rising. So. We won't even talk about how nuclear weapons affect the Van Allen belts. It's really, really scary. We'll cover that in a later video. Part of the reason why there's a nuclear test ban is because of the effect on the electron flux. And we would probably see fluctuations in the GOES measurements all the way up at the F2 layer, the electron flux, if somebody set off nukes. Believe it or not. It causes perturbations that stay in place for weeks. Anyway, it is time to get out of here very, very quickly. Because there's a lot of stuff to do yet today, folks. So get out of your comfort zone, go out and do stuff. It's summertime, enjoy it. Leave a comment, visit the links in the description, as there are a whole bunch of them, a whole bunch of further reading, as well as ways to support the channel. So thanks for doing so, everybody who is. Remember, when you're staring at the sun, don't drink. If you drink, stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.